Absolutely. And we will fly in the draft and see what's going to be at play. I feel like teams are adjusting, even though we haven't had significant changes, and we are due to have significant changes with the patch that is live right now. Not in the LCK, but if you're playing solo queue or normal games, you'll have noticed a lot of changes there. That will obviously shift up the meta substantially. But even in the LCK, without too many changes, we've seen little shift-ups and adjustments just based on how teams are scoping out picks. Picks that we thought were extremely strong, like Ryze and Pantheon, have been struggling, largely due to the counters. But the bans, pretty stagnant. The big four, Rumble, Orianna, Karma, and Varus, are basically banned every game. Bard, pretty common ban, especially into Andal. Jace, less common as a first rotation ban, but this Jarvan first pick we do see very often. Now for Diablo, I think there's options that you can pick for an AD carry. I personally would be a fan of getting an early AD carry pick that has mobility to get out of the Cataclysm. There's Ezreal. There's even Lucian. You know, we've seen Lucian Milio be more popular, and we know Diablo's very proficient on the Lucian. But I think you have options. You could even go towards something like a Yunara, but they will just go for that Ezreal. Looking at the Ezreal Nico, well, it is on the space today, so I'm sure you'll have feelings.
Also, Ezreal did break his 11-game losing streak.
Oh, so that means he can play it now.
Yeah, now it's good. Ruler got the first win for Ezreal in 12 games. As Ryze comes through.
So I kind of like this, I was going to say blue side, but I guess it's just first pick approach, where you go the entire top side when a team is locked at bot lane, and they just don't really have an opportunity to respond to everything. Now, Nongshim in this uncomfortable position where it's like, do you pick jungle? Do you go something like Nocturne to pair up with the Nico? Or do you try and match one of these lanes, but you can only match one of them? They're looking at matching the Gnar with the Vayne, which is a good matchup. But now, Ryze is unchecked.
Yeah.
And KRX have the opportunity to ban Anivia, ban Cassiopeia. They could also look to ban Nocturne, which obviously pairs very well with the Nico. They have a lot of good bans here. On the other side, for Nongshim, I think a look at the Ashe Seraphine would be a good thing to do here, and take that away. Also, maybe like Yunara, Lulu. That could be a problem. A lot of the bot lane pairings, you imagine, will be trimmed down here, and they will take away the Yunara first and foremost.
There's a lot of signs behind Dandy that say, today, Dandy, please do a good draft for us. And Dandy's been very vocal about, you know, when he feels like he's done a good job or when he hasn't done a good job. So maybe a topic of discussion within the Nongshim fan base at this point in time. I don't feel like it's been necessarily the drafting that's been the main issue for the squad. So we'll have to wait and see. As Lucian is banned and so is Xin Zhao. They're targeting the jungle, actually. Yeah,
not seeing or looking towards the Ashe Seraphine from Nongshim, though. But the Lucian, as we said, the Lucian Milio, and also Lucian Nami is playable, seem pretty high priority. Xin Zhao being banned away, obviously just a strong pick in general. And then the Azir ban comes through. So not the bans I would have expected. I think if I'm Nongshim, the Nocturne is obviously a great power pick. And then the problem is, I feel like if you go Nocturne, Anivia and Cassiopeia don't really sync with it too well, but I think slamming the Anivia does just make a lot of sense. You can keep your jungle pick until you see the full composition. But the fact that you managed to get Anivia into Ryze when they had double bans afterwards feels a little odd to me.
Yeah, Azir does better into Jarvan, but I feel like Anivia is so good into Ryze that it should have gotten a look in. As Ashe Seraphine, you called it.
Yeah, and now as well, a mobile bot lane, and you have Nico Anivia, which can be a little awkward. I will say that Ashe Seraphine into Anivia can be good at like helping sort out engages into her. Ashe Seraphine, Jarvan, good way of closing the gap. But yeah, and then Lee Sin coming out for Sponge. So not necessarily the pick I would have expected there either. A lot of early pressure.
They don't really have a front line.
No, they really don't. A lot more about using the wall and the zone control. I think KRX's composition looks a lot more standard, definitely. And they have this bulky top side where it's essentially 3 bruisers with an Ashe Seraphine backing them up. So if they get onto basically any target on Nongshim, they have the CC, they connect onto them, they should just explode them. I think for Nongshim, it's a lot more about playing out the lanes well. The solo lane should have an advantage. And you're hoping this Lee Sin gets the ball rolling. So maybe the Lee Sin puts some pressure towards bot lane. You can make that happen. But we've seen the Ezreal Nico struggle a good amount. Yeah, I think the Nongshim composition ultimately feels a lot more difficult to pull off. You're very reliant on the solo lanes coming out ahead. Bot lane, you know, we haven't seen Ezreal Nico naturally win against Ashe Seraphine. I think you're going to need attention for the Lee Sin if you're just playing that 2v2 out normally. And even if you win lanes, I don't think things are surefire completed when you're playing into the Narvin combo, when there's the Ryze who scales so well, the Ashe Seraphine. I think KRX have the tools they need to have a good game here.
Yeah, the draft looks pretty nice on their side, but let's hop into the Rift and see what happens in game 1. Here we go, game number 1. Nongshim, you know, similar situation to Series 1, where they're looking for their revenge. Just like Gen.G were looking for their revenge. Nongshim got 2-0'd by KRX in round 1. It was definitely one of the bigger upsets, at least on paper, that we have seen so far at the LCK. But Nongshim's still in that nebulous kind of weird middle area where they're not a weak team, but they're not one of the stronger teams.
Yeah.
So still trying to figure it out, and a loss against one of the weaker teams can make sense. As Kingen has found an angle here on a Rich.
It's so horrible, this matchup. You're outranged by the Vayne. Mini Nars range skills with levels, so at this point, there's so little you can do. You can see he's getting spaced by the Vayne.
By the space Vayne?
Yeah, this is the concern for KRX, because obviously I said I feel really good about their team fight, their scaling. They have to get there. Rich is not having a fun time so far on this Gnar.
I think it's a good call for them to pick the Vayne first, as, by the way, we're going for an engage here on an Ondil, who takes a bunch of damage.
Okay, Lahens and Diablo doing well in this 2v2 so far. Again, typically we see the Ashe Seraphine coming out ahead. Obviously the Ezreal very strong level 1, but LazyField and Andal on the back foot here so far. And we saw Willer looking like he might show some attention there, but instead he's looking mid.
Yeah, he actually avoided the ward. They saw where it went down. And so now he's got an angle here. Scout has no idea. And there's the route into the knockup. And Scout will still flash as he does go into Egg. Do they have the DPS? I think with red buff, Jarvan should absolutely, and the first blood will go over to Willer. A nice play from him.
The fact you get Egg, Flash, and the kill onto the Anivia is so massive for KRX. Great gank that comes through. Good setup from Yukal. The fact they didn't have to flash for it as well. Now, though, looking for a gank.
Yeah, LazyField already no flash for him. Easy lineup for Sponge. And nice tanking and juggling. And now they're going to be looking for Ondil, too. As they know Willer's on the top side of the map. And just waiting for Lahens to get the aggro. He flashes away, and the kill goes over to Diablo. Excellently done here by Nongshim in the bot lane.
So beautifully played there. The juggling of the aggro. The fact that only Lahens has to burn flash for that play. And it's both Sponge and Diablo who get the kills. Exactly how you want it to play out. You know, you get flashes from both LazyField and Andal as well. Oh boy. Scout's in trouble, though.
Scout got so baited into this. The wall does not interrupt the flag drag, and he's just dead again. This time, Yukal picks up the kill.
Well, that's one way to disrupt the Anivia Ryze matchup, and it's, you know, a consequence of the fact that Scout burnt everything in that fierce gank. I mean, it's not really his fault for burning Egg. That's just kind of a consequence of him going down, but having the flash down as well, Willer is putting a tent up in the mid lane and making the punishes happen. I do think bot lane, the fact that Diablo and the Hens had such a strong level 1 start is what set up and allowed that dive to happen. We often see the Ashe Seraphine having more pressure early, and then that wouldn't be able to happen. But although we saw Ezreal's loss streak broken, Ezreal Nico still on a big loss streak.
What did just, you know, he ran into the production room after he saw this pick. He's like, we need the stat.
He's like, play the graphic.
Put it up now. And we did. 7 losses in a row for Ezreal Nico.
But they are substantially ahead already. It's a sizable lead, 600 gold for the Ezreal. And the fact that you have Tyr, I mean, he has the fairy in the bottle as well, the glowing moat. but you have like, you know, often on Ezreal you have to back and get that tier early, and it can sometimes put you at a weaker spike compared to your opponent. It feels so good when you have that early lead and your tier is just a bonus. Like, you get that item you need, that investment, that stacking item, but then you also have the same items, and he actually had more with the glowing mode over LazyField after the first reset. Now LazyField's gone back again, picked up boots and a dagger. It still feels pretty good for Nongshim's bot lane. Scout, though, not having as much of a fun time. And I feel like now, with how the game has been going, has to play in a very defensive manner. Sponge here is covering him, though. Just goes for a little scrap with the enemy jungler.
Yeah, well, they're using the plant to clear this ward. They saw him put it down with their own ward here in the bush. And jungler's trying to hover around mid with all the action we've seen. And this dragon is going to be started up. Not sure if Willer really has an in onto this one. Like, they're getting vision down with the hawk shot. Willer's still in the brush. And they don't seem to know he's there, but they are going to pull off of the dragon now. The root comes down. Lots of poke on a Ucal already. As in comes Scout. Ucal, low range here on this Rise, going to have a bit of trouble. The wall comes down. It's a bit of damage to the stun, but they're looking for Scout as Willer goes in and goes out. But the root is there on a sponge, and they just burst him out. And now that's no smite here for the side of Nongshim, as that will be Lehen sticking around and actually might just be punished here for it, as down he will go. And Scout now insanely low. And KRX, a nice fight on the Drake.
Yeah, Wolf from Scout will stop any more kills coming through, but I feel like KRX, much better play around their cooldowns and able to disengage again. After the fact, we see the wall come down, and then Willer goes in, knocks up the Anivia, then flashes out. Sponge gets baited into a root, and Scout's super low, but the jungler down means they can secure the dragon. And then Hens just sticks around a little bit too long. Ashe gets the slow, and that sets up Andal again for another root on the back of that slow. Another kill here, then Ucal's looking for more, but the wall will stop any further kills. But it just felt like it was a really good sort of core unit from KRX. No one really overstepped too much. The brief moment when Willer went for the CC, he flashed out again, and it just didn't really allow Nongshim a chance to focus anyone down.
Yeah. I mean, it looked awkward from Willer, but then when Sponge tried to do the same thing, like the Rise, yes, he's low, but he has a mana bar, so he just casts a root and you die.
If we kind of take stock of everything now, LazyField picked up 2 kills there, so he's 2-1. The gold lead from Diablo is basically gone. And in the top lane, the lead for Kingen is pretty much gone as well, because Rich has got a wave he's going to pick up here. Considering how badly the lane looked like it was starting, he's still going to be a little bit behind in CS, but it's really not that relevant altogether. I think KRX are doing a pretty good job of overcoming some of these disadvantages they had early. And that's worrying for Nongshim.
Nolan. Yeah. Kind of unfortunate there for Sponge, who they're going to have a trade up here in the top lane. Rich gets a nice amount of damage here into Kingen. Still have to be careful about, you know, going super deep into that lane, just because Vayne can sometimes run you down, especially with exhaust. But I think Rich plays it well. Gets a bunch of damage down, backs away.
I mean, Nah is a pick that I feel like Rich has just always been so comfortable on. Kind of a go-to in tough situations. Obviously, this is not a matchup you want to find yourself in, but he's really found a way to stabilize it. Obviously, Vayne scales well, but I think if you get through the tricky laning phase, you can kind of just farm up and not really have to interact too much with the Vayne later on. Just pick up waves and not interact with her a ton. The point it's at right now, he's able to hold his own. But you see LazyField get zoned off this bot wave again. And that allows Diablo to build up a bit more of a gold lead. Or the barrier for Diablo to stop the base being cancelled. It's a nice move. Yeah, ultimately we talked a bit about how Diablo and the Hens crushing the bot lane 2v2 could really shut LazyField out of the game, and how a lot of teams have looked to do that. As much as they have put him down. And after this wave, it's going to be about a 20 CS lead. The fact he got those 2 kills and just, he's still very much in the game. So you can see their attempt, but it hasn't fully succeeded overall.
Yeah, I mean, this game is definitely very much still up in the air, and it honestly feels pretty good for the side of KRX with their Rise in such a good spot. I don't know if they're going to be able to play it as well as Gen G did when Chovy was very far ahead on the rise and really just took over the entire game, but they've certainly set themselves up for success here in the early game, as here comes Sponge trying to gank an R, always very difficult, especially when
that's something about this
Vayne.
Lee Sin pick, is that often with Lee Sin you want a lot of setup from your lanes.
Yeah.
And I know you have like CC technically in every lane, but none of it's super easy to get off reliable. You know, if the Nivea's playing well, you can use the wall to guide the stun, but it's not the easiest. It's quite a slow projectile. Bot lane, we've seen Nico route not be a super surefire thing. It's not like a Nautilus hook. You just throw it out and it's pretty guaranteed.
Yeah.
As a result, Sponge has kind of struggled to have impact. So often when we have, you know, we've seen a lot of Lee Sin Annie, which is just, you know, how can you miss?
Yeah.
So far, a bit of struggles for Sponge on making that impact you'd hope for. You have Dragon coming up in about 30 seconds. It's been 3 grubs and that Fierce Dragon for Killam DRX, and the Fierce Dragon was Chemtech. We're actually getting both Hex Dragons out of the way.
Yeah.
So it'll be a primitive soul, I guess.
No tech. None allowed. And, you know, to be honest, I was getting a little bit annoyed by the Hex Gate escapes.
Whoa.
I don't know if you...
No, I won't take the slander. No, Brent.
I don't know if
stop.
you felt it during the cast, but I'm like, this is just like the Mega Cone disengages.
No, stop talking, Brent.
it happened twice in the same game.
I won't take this slander. Hex Gates were a great addition to the game. They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
More often than not, they're used for flanking.
That's why I'm still okay with it. But the trend is, you know, a little bit iffy, as that arrow's going to hit Lahens here. He's in a lot of trouble. He's just dead, so more than a lot of trouble. Sponge also has to hop away, and this Drake looks like Killam DRX should just take it for free.
Yeah, Lahens not able to block the arrow with his clone. I think that's what he was going for there. Unfortunately, just gets caught out and suffers. Doesn't end up using the flash because he thought he'd be able to block it with the clone. And now Killam DRX, a pretty heavy control over the area, can just pick up the second dragon.
Yeah.
But honestly, Brennan, you trash talk Hex Gates again, we're going to have a problem. You're allowed to take it back. You're allowed to say the words.
Sometimes now I've realized the Hex Gates can be an issue, but it's not like the Blast Cone where it's like most of the times it is an issue.
Just stop talking.
Most of the times it's not an issue for the Hex Gates, so it's fine.
Do you know which game used Hex Gates? You know when KT upset? Oh,
yeah.
Engage coming in.
Oh, Rich gonna go back into that. Not sure about that play. Trying to set up the Mega, and instead he just looked mega silly.
I think he wanted to jump back on the tower because he like came out. He's like, I'll jump back on the tower after the ult, and just mistimed it. So a little bit unfortunate.
A little bit.
Yeah, the KT upset over Gen G, Game 5 last summer. The Hex Gate from BDD in.
Yeah.
What a great moment. But you don't want that, do you? You don't want. You want Hex Gates. I see how it is.
I think you're misreading the situation. I'm okay with Hex Gates. It's just sometimes.
Are you?
Yeah,
Are you?
I am. He should have flashed this.
Yeah, I think he was like, maybe I can clone to get out of the way, but the clone wasn't even going in the right direction initially. Probably should have just gone for the flash. Yeah, so he flashed out. I think he was just... he was trying to jump in after the ult. You could see the intent, but it did look silly.
Yeah. He almost had Meganar too. Like, it could have turned out to be a very nice turnaround.
It was just like a split second later.
Yeah. Because Yukon was right there, and I mean, he doesn't do a whole lot, but under turret, you never know. And this has been Willer's blue buff basically the entire game.
I was nearly not his blue buff, but no one was around to steal. It is a Cloud Soul, again. Honestly, not the craziest value in terms of champions that zoom with it. Oh, Sponge will take his Gromp back. But just the general movement speed is good. So that's something at least.
Yeah. The Rift as well helps the junglers get around the map pretty quick.
It is a gold lead for Nongshim currently, but Laserfield's about to get his quest, so that'll equalize. Very close in terms of gold, but the Dragons, the objectives are in favor of Killam DRX. Herald's up in about 50 seconds. We'll see if they put some priority towards playing for that.
Oh, nice little tumble there from King, and he's playing this very well with the exhaust. Arrow also dodged. And all of a sudden, a lot of the pressure that Killam DRX had there is gone. Willer's super low at the same time.
Yeah, I think Willer needs to reset. Rich is trying to stack up the Mega and look for something here. Lazyfield get poked out in the mid lane. Andil.
Oh boy, Andil gonna find a Lee Sin. He's gonna get some healing in, but like, they're just being poked out of the bottom lane. You're just not really allowed to be here. Sponge gonna continue in with the Sonic Wave, and now they get the root here on a Rich, who's going to be feeling some deja vu, as I'm not sure why he wasn't always also backing with Willer and Andil there.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why Willer didn't just reset when he was low. Andil was walking through the jungle and got picked on. It felt like Nongshim had a clear idea of what they wanted to do, and KRX is a little bit lost. That allows Rich to get picked up as pretty much a freebie on that kill. You see them moving up towards the Herald now, but Will is still very low in terms of HP. We'll heal up a bit from taking that Scuttle. But yeah, they just kind of overstay. And then Rich is still looking for the Mega. Tries to go for it here, but doesn't really have the damage. And it's just deleted. A bit overforced, it feels.
Yeah, just a little bit.
We are seeing the Sundered Sky Lee Sin. We've seen a lot of Eclipse Lee Sin recently. The Sponge is going to be a bit bulkier on this one. Oh, they're going in.
Don't really have much of a front line, so I like it. As Sponge is going to get rooted up here, he does jump on over to the ward. Realm Warp is coming in. Sponge desperately wants the disengage cone, and he is going to go on to the Krugs, but double flash to follow. And KRX say, you are not getting away with this cone. Lahens, though, he will, as he's going to get out of there. The rest of Nongshim not really able to help. Diablo just pushing mid, getting some plates. Lazyfield trying to start something here.
Nice moves from Lazyfield there, dodging the Mystic Shot. Allows him to chunk out Diablo. Definite health advantage on the map for KRX right now, but they don't opt to go for the Heralds in the backlist. Instead, looking to prioritize the Dragon, so resetting for that. It's up in 20 seconds, and there's no real vision in the area from either team. Yukal gets this plate, but needs to reset and head down now if they want to be there in time for it. Kingen does have TP, so he'll be able to join if needed. And he's pinging the enemy tower, so I think Nongshim do need this Dragon. They are probably going to have to TP the Vayne in. We'll see how much pressure he can get in the meantime.
I mean, they saw Diablo back with the Hawk Shot from Lazyfield, so they just know that Diablo isn't here. So they try to start up the Dragon as fast as they possibly can, just burst it down. And you can see that Nongshim are just going to have to give it away.
The big ult's not available for KRX right now, so the fact that they're getting this is huge.
Yeah, they kind of are hanging around, though. Maybe they want to take the fight after the fact, as Meganar are going to find, and the flash is very nice here from Rich, but not able to lock Kingen quite down, as he also flashes away.
Okay, Cataclysms now come up. The Encore and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow are going to be available as well. Those were all down when KRX got that Dragon, so I was kind of concerned they wouldn't be able to get it. Arrow comes in.
Just going to eat an arrow to the face. Very nice here from Lazyfield, who's been having a nice time here in this mid-game. Going to get some slows down on the Kingen. Now a boomerang into him. Nowhere for him to run or hide. And the extension comes through. Willer is able to lock down the Vayne and pick up that kill. Now they're looking for Lahens, as a ton of poke damage is coming out. Another volley to hit, and the flag gets the kill from Willer. And that's a double kill now for Willer.
Yeah, I think Nongshim felt like, hey, you know, they got the Dragon, but we can get mid-prow, we can force them out. Not realizing that KRX, their aversion to fighting was based on the fact that they didn't have their ultimates available. As soon as they came up, they were like, okay, we can actually tango. It's fine now. We saw in this play, Lahens having to flash away from the Encore, and Sponge ends up going down eventually on the back of this. It was a very heavy commit to make this happen in terms of resources, double flash on everything. But here, Ash Arrow is great from Lazyfield. Catches the enemy jungler. The CC is layered, and I feel like Andil got a lot of snipes on this one. So often, we've seen like the ult flash from the Seraphine. We haven't seen too many of our Seraphines chaining the ult like this, as well as dashing in, which caught out Scout pretty good. And then moving forward to catch out Lahens, who dodges the root nicely, but unfortunately just can't get away from the situation. This is kind of what the KRX composition does. They just deathball. They have the frontline bruisers, they have a ton of CC engage, they just move forward, and there's no tanks on Nongshim. There's no one to kill the momentum. You don't have a Scion to buy time. The tankiest person on Nongshim is Scout's egg. Like him and his... if he has his egg up,
yeah,
that makes him the tankiest, and that's literally it.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of an issue stemming from the draft, I suppose you could say. As another arrow going to find Sponge as he tries to hop away, and the Realm Orb comes in, and there's nowhere for him to run, nowhere to hide. He doesn't have flash, and it's just free pickings here for KRX.
LazyFuel's been on fire with these arrows so far. Still down in gold compared to Diablo, but it just isn't going to matter if they keep finding these picks. 4-0-5 for KRX's jungler, 3-0-5 for the mid lane. And they are pushing it forward even more with this Herald.
Oh, Hondo gonna actually stick around for the charm, and now we got an engage underneath the turret as the knockup comes in. Diablo's flashing for the kill on a LazyFuel. He is going to get it, but he's got a UCal on his back, so eventually he just dies. And meanwhile, the play under the turret also worked out.
Yeah, Scout's Egg not tanky enough, it seems, to withstand the brunt from KRX. Diablo tries to make the hero play there, but it's just not enough. 5-0-7, 5-0-6 now for the jungle mid of KRX. Are going to get this mid tier 2, and the gold lead is just exploding. So we'll see the replay. This arrow from out of vision. Snipe Sponge on the dash. The CC is laid by Andal. They dodge the True Shot Barrage, and then the rest of the team are there to follow up. And then in this ensuing play that comes through, Diablo goes very aggressive here to try and chunk out Andal. You know, the ult comes in, but that stun from Scout is a big threat. He survives a while because of the egg, but still goes down. And then Diablo is just stuck in the mixer, and Ryze is just walking at him. And it's too tanky. It's like, how many Mystic shots would you actually need to hit to burn through Ryze? And the answer is just far too many.
Yeah. And Kingen was top lane. So he pushed the turret. He has a gold lead, but his team has fallen apart. So I'm not sure when they're going to utilize the Vayne in some of these team fights, but it's not yet. I suppose now he'll be forced, as the Cataclysm not exactly helping Willer. And but now we've got the angle here on a Kingen who still does not have his flash, and UCal just able to root him and take him down.
Realm Orb.
And Realm Orb's coming in, and they're just farming Nongshim members at this point. They're so fed.
This
just
is a decimation right now. And I think when it was announced that Diablo was coming in, there wasn't an expectation that, oh, this is just immediately going to take Nongshim to S tier, because the team had been having their issues. And being KRX, the team Diablo came from, had been having their issues. Diablo ultimately, I think he's been playing fine, but Nongshim as a whole is struggling. I think whether you have Diablo, whether you have Taeyun, whether you have any AD carry in the league, with how they've been playing in this game, I think they're losing it. The rest of the team kind of falling apart, to be honest. Here we see the engage come in on Lahens. Ult traps them in there, and we get this flank again. UCal's been so good at finding these angles, just flanking every time, whether it's solo with a Realm Orb. Here, he forces Lahens over here. It's very funny because it looks like he's full HP because he turns into Lee Sin just to get one shot by Willer.
By the way, Cloud Soul
with how
was just secured.
I mean, Cloud Soul, I think is really good anyway. That 15% flat movement speed is just a ton of value.
Yeah.
But with how KRX has been playing, just chasing people down and picking them off, it's going to feel so much harder. Like, look at the bottom left. You can see LazyFuel, 487 movement speed when he's out of combat. That's crazy. The Phantom Dance obviously boosting that as well, but it just means they're moving around the map so much quicker. They're chasing down targets so much quicker. You're playing into an Ashe Seraphine as well. The discrepancy in movement is going to be massive.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a lot of plays where Nongshim are going to be able to utilize their Vayne, who like dodges out of all the CC, and or like Diablo skirting around the fight. I think they just kind of run at those 280 carries and they say, yeah, cool story.
Well, also,
nice frontline, you're dead.
But Nongshim, 4 of the champions are skill shot based on their side. It's only Kingen who just auto attacks.
Yeah. Well, Sponge is going to be found here on the Wolves, and now another arrow was going to hit him if he didn't flash that. And you have this Lee Sin jungle now with no flash.
LazyFuel has been on point with these arrows, firing them from across the map and connecting so consistently, forcing a flash there for Sponge to dodge away from them.
It just feels like KRX, like their laning phase, it might be the worst in the LCK right now, but once they get through that, they're actually quite good. I mean, we saw that against Gen G as well, where they took the game. And in this one, they actually had a lead from the laning phase. It's now Diablo. He doesn't have flash. He's just dead. I mean, the combo comes in. There's no escaping that. The bottom lane of Nongshim is gone. And it's all done but the crying, it feels like, at this point.
Whenever a team commits to a play like that and you see the flash timer is almost up, that just always makes me think that they were sharp on their timers there. So KRX, they knew Diablo's flash was still down. You can see now it's back up and available. But for that play, they knew they could commit to him and they would be able to find the kill, taking out the AD carry and able to take on the Baron as a result. KRX just, as you said, the laning phase has at times been rough. And I think it's why we're kind of talking about, you know, Diablo and the Hens need to shut LazyField out the game. We've seen teams do that, but it feels almost like a necessity because when it gets to these later stages, the team as a whole just feels so much better. Beautiful combo here with a follow-up from Mandel. Jarvan plus Ashe Seraphine feels very potent.
It's death number 7 here for Lehens. He's just trying to ward.
You know what? Ezreal broke his loss streak earlier, but Ezreal, Nico has not, and I feel like the Nico is struggling more right now.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. But hey.
I mean, there hasn't really been one fight where Nongshim have been able to set it up, and
I think it's just
they didn't really.
It's so difficult to set it up, you know.
I mean, against this comp as well in a 5v5, you're just not really going to win.
They just engage, and your composition is kind of like you have to hold them at bay with like the wall and you're engaged.
It's too difficult, I think. Because finally, they're going to get a knock up here with the Nico, and Kingan's got a nice angle, but it's already 2 kills for the side of KRX. A lot of low health bars, though, as LazyField is going to fall. Trying to take down this turret, but they're not exactly healthy. Diablo trying to poke them down. But really importantly, Ukal is quite healthy, and they still can't step up to him.
Oh, they're looking to push more. They have a lot of sustain from Mandel, remember?
Willer's going to take a bunch of damage. Rich in Mininar. Definitely don't want to overstay your welcome.
You don't need to try and end right now, I think is the clear answer.
Yeah.
2 members are going to well, one's respawned already, one's respawning soon. I think you just back away, reset. You still have the Baron for a minute, so if I'm KRX right now, I push through bot lane, keep the pressure up till Elder spawns. Another great arrow comes in. LazyField does end up going down in this play. Kingan kind of focuses him out and gets a bit of help from the Ezreal. That Mystic Shot did a lot of damage. Had the Essence Flux on him as well, I think the W is called. Oh, they're engaging on the Hens again.
Yeah, this engage cone not going to help out, actually. And the chase is still on. Willard just doesn't want to use... Oh, he doesn't have his Cataclysm for 5 seconds. And eventually, he just dies.
So they still have Baron for a bit. They can push in on this bot tower. And there's just no vision anywhere near this dragon. But I'm not even sure they need it, if I'm being honest. It might be a bit tricky against Anivia to push the waves in. You can see that Kingan deep push top lane. But whether they end now or not, Nongshim are going to have to push into the Fog of War to approach this Elder Dragon, which is really difficult. Look how many minions are shooting the base. Now, okay, Baron's gone, so the Anivia can clear the wave up a bit better.
Nice little angle here on a Ukal, but the wallets might just be too heavy as they're desperately trying to hold on Nongshim. And there's still a minion wave, and so the turret will go down. Lehens with a very nice engage onto 3 as they do find LazyField, but the follow-up is not quite there. The kick is nice, but eventually the wallets just smack them in the face and take them down. Diablo also very low himself. They're going to get this route down onto Scout as the Gnar whiffs, but it doesn't really matter as Diablo here on the new team not able to help them out enough to get this victory here in Game 1 as KRX looking strong as a team to win Game 1.
To dictate this game, felt like a team-wide issue led to their loss in this one. You can see from the goal graph, 17 minutes was really where it started to just turn on in favor of KRX.
나 호응은 돼. 일단 타워 쳐봐.
터치면서 해봐.
얘네 이니시 없어.
터치면서 해봐.
나 7대 3초.
터치면서.
쉐드 있죠.
한 바퀴. 끝.
쉐드 없들.
빼고 다시. 베인 봐봐. 베인 봐봐.
괜찮아 괜찮고. 괜찮아 여기 아래.